Welcome to Biz Alchemy, a podcast about creating a new business paradigm by women, for women. I'm your alchemical host, Jacquelyn, and I'm going to take you on an extraordinary adventure to create a business filled with ease, fun, spaciousness, and abundance. Hustle, be gone. Let's birth a new way. Inspired action is what I'm chatting with you about today, or more particularly, business ease through inspired action, because in many ways, more than anything else, my experience and understanding of energy has helped me to realize that inspired action is what creates business ease. If business does not feel easy, chances are that you are taking mental action rather than inspired action. So I'm excited to explore this topic with you today. It's been very strong in my life, particularly the past couple of weeks, and I'll share that story with you as a beautiful illustration of inspired action. Back in episode 3, I talked about ease in business. I was talking about the beach philosophy and the E aspect of the beach philosophy, and that E stands for ease as well as the energy. In that episode, I discussed the shoulds of business. And the shoulds come from a place of mental action, or the shoulds are what drive mental action. So I talked quite a bit about the should, so I'm not going to go into that so much today. What I want to talk about is the flip side of that, which is inspired action. So energetically, action is a yang term. It's an output term. It's the very yang aspect of the solar plexus, that yang energy that the solar plexus embodies, or one aspect of it embodies. It's what our world is all about. And it's certainly what business, it's an important aspect of business. We have to take action or else nothing is going to get done. So inspired action isn't a yin term because action is yang, but it's what I would call an integrated term. Inspiration tends to be a more yin energy because it's receptive. Inspiration is something that flows through you. So it's a receptive energy. You are receiving the inspiration rather than blocking it. You are receiving it. So that aspect is yin. And the action, the output that results from the inspiration you received is the yang. So it's a beautiful harmonizing with the yin and the yang playing an important role in the outcome. And like all things that are harmonized, where the yin and the yang are in harmony with each other, it's effortless, it's easeful, it flows. Your business can be this way if you honor the principles of inspired action. As I mentioned, shoulds are a form of mental action. And the thing is, we're taught to operate this way. We are raised in a society and we are educated in a system that encourages mental action. You think it through before you take action. As I say that, I'm mindful of the fact that I am a generator in human design and I do have sacral authority. So what that means for you, if you are not familiar with human design, is that I know fairly quickly if something's right or wrong for me. I get quite a clear yes or no in my body. So in many ways, that supports me in inspired action. Having said that, because of the education system and the way our society operates, there can be a tendency to override that with the mental action, with the mind deciding what is right or wrong for me, deciding the correct path for me to take. So this is how we've been educated and raised to take mental action. And mental action can be so friggin' hard. It can require so much effort. It can leave you feeling exhausted. Or it causes procrastination because you know it's going to take effort and it's energy you don't want to expend. And so you avoid it. I can assure you, you never avoid inspired action. You don't avoid it because it is so effortless, because it flows through you so easily, because the output is coming as a result of an input. When you're taking mental action, often there has been no input into your energy to support you in the energy that's going out in the output. Inspired action, you are receiving the flow of inspiration, which is filling your cup and giving you the energy to put out there. Mental action is what goes into business planning as well. I used to plan my business. I would plan the year. At the beginning of the year, I would look over the year and I would plan the year. Then I would break it down and plan the quarter. At the beginning of the week, I would plan the week. I am doing this much less now. I operated very well. I'm just going to say here, I operated very well in that system. I have mastered mental action. So it was very easy for me to plan and have that structure. And it supported me in the development of my business. But then I ended up exhausted. Then I ended up unwell. And as part of that journey and that pulling back from the mental action, I've realized that in many ways, planning the way I was planning does not suit me. So let me share a story of mine now that illustrates this. Towards the end of last year, I had a very strong urge to remove myself from Facebook. Now I get this urge now and again, but late last year it was strong. I felt constricted by the energy of Facebook. For me, something happened around November that the entity that is Facebook, because Facebook has an energy body and it's an entity, became much denser. And I found it very hard to be on Facebook. All these beautiful women in my tribe who were there, and I loved being a part of their lives. But when I would be on there, especially more than 5 or 10 minutes, I could feel the energy permeating my energy body. And I repelled, I pushed it away. I just didn't want to be there. And at the time I said, that's it. Next year, early next year, I'm off Facebook. Off. I can be a bit black and white sometimes. Off Facebook. That's it. I'm done. Okay, I'm going to focus on my podcast. That's the tool that I will use to reach my audience and attract in the clients who want to be with me. And so in that intention, it wasn't just a negative intention, I'm coming off Facebook. It was that I wanted to feel more expansive. And on Facebook, I felt constricted. I could feel my energy body pull in almost as a protection. My aura was in. I was protecting myself. And here I am sharing with my clients, sharing with my audience about being your true self, being your authentic self, embodying your energy, letting your true energy shine out to attract in the people who resonate with you. And I found that every time I showed up on Facebook, I was pulling my energy in to protect myself. And so how could my tribe read my energy? So it was defeating the purpose of using it as a platform to reach my tribe. So I set the intention that I wanted to be able to find the women who would really benefit from my message in a different way. I wanted to feel expansive and open and allow myself to be in a vulnerable space in that expansion and openness so that my tribe, so that each woman who was attracted to my energy would be drawn into me. So even though my intention sort of came from a negative in that I want to get off Facebook, but actually if I go deeper than that, that wasn't my intention. My intention was to be on a platform that allowed me to be myself, that allowed me to radiate my energy fully and feel safe and supported in that space and not have to battle with other energies. So I set that intention. I strongly felt that podcasting would be the way for me to do that. But I also felt like there was another way. And so within that intention, I was open to finding this other way. I now and again would think, oh, maybe it's Instagram, although mentally I was going, no, it's not Instagram because that's still Facebook. But I was toying with that because, it works for other people with podcasts. I was looking in other lanes for a minute. And then I wondered whether Pinterest may be a platform for me. I was a little hesitant because it felt like that would require a whole lot of learning of a new platform. And I just learned the podcasting platform, and I'm also learning a new platform with Mighty Networks because I'm no longer using a Facebook group for my paid program. And so I didn't really want to learn another platform. I wanted it to be easy. So I just sat there and waited and thought that other platform will come to me. I had tried LinkedIn last year. It really did not work for me. Again, I found it a little hard to show up there and be myself in that platform. It felt hard. It was mental action. So I just sat with it, poured myself into the podcast, still showed up on Facebook when I felt inspired. And then with taking the app off my phone, I wasn't going in there so often. So I would just go in there with intention, connect with whoever I wanted to connect with, post whatever I wanted to post, and then come out again. Then a couple of weeks ago, I saw a webinar by the beautiful Camilla Sunshine, as she is on Facebook. And she was talking about Insight Timer. And Insight Timer I'd signed up for maybe 2 years ago as to be a teacher and never did it because there were too many other things on my to-do list. And so it just sat there. And I had seen Camilla offer this webinar, I think last year, and again, it didn't really attract me. This time when I saw it, I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then when I looked at the time of the webinar, I happened to have that hour free, which doesn't happen very often. And I was like, okay, I'm going to show up. I think it was that day or the next day. So I thought, I'm going to show up. And as I listened to Camilla talk about Insight Timer, there was some part of me that just went, oh, yes, this is right. And you know what? This is right now. And Camilla had a beautiful offer for people to work with her in a group and then have a tribe that would support your journey into Insight Timer. Because I had learned a lot through podcasting and recording and editing, and I'd already created so many visualizations for my groups over the last couple of years, I didn't feel that I probably needed her support in that way, as enticing as it was. And the other thing was, I wanted to do it straight away. It's like space just opened on my calendar and I was like, yes, I'm going to record that now. I'm going to put music to it. I'm going to apply, get it up there. And so I did. I think the webinar was late in the week, and I think it was the Sunday I loaded it up for approval. It happened so quickly. And that was 2 weeks ago. Now, within a week or so of me doing that, maybe a bit longer, 10 days, I received an email from Insight Timer saying that their staff had picked my Meet Your Business visualization, which is the one I loaded up first, and that it would be on their homepage as the staff picks for 24 hours. And I was a bit blown over by this because it had all happened so quickly and it was so effortless. And suddenly people were commenting. I received a couple of donations. And then this came in and that exposure was huge for me. In the meantime, I loaded up an earlier podcast episode, and then I put another visualization on there. And I just had a look at my stats this morning. So it's been less than 2 weeks because it took a few days for that first visualization, Meet Your Business, to be approved. And when I looked at my stats this morning, I had 83 followers, 733 plays, 37 shares, and there have been a few donations come in as a result of that. And that was not a motivating factor for me to be on Insight Timer, but a beautiful bonus. It almost feels like my first real passive income. So how amazing is that? And I wanted to tell you that story because that was inspired action. I could have forced myself 2 years ago to go through the process and get on there, and maybe it would have all worked beautifully. I'm sure it would have, but this was the perfect time. And I had never considered this platform when I made the decision, when I set the intention late last year to remove myself from Facebook, so that I could expand myself more. A little aside to that is that I shared the Insight Timer story on Facebook last week in a paid group I'm in, as well as in a free group and on my page. And I got so much engagement from that story. So it actually expanded my Facebook reach by sharing that story, which illustrates beautifully that when you allow yourself to expand, how that carries over to all mediums. Whereas when I was relying on Facebook, solely on Facebook, and I felt constricted, that energy was carrying over elsewhere. So the thing that I would really love you to receive from that is that inspired action is effortless. And as I talked about in episode 9, throw out the rule book, the rules suffocate inspired action. They create mental action. And that feels hard, that feels effortful, that causes procrastination, that causes stress, that disconnects you from your intuition, that disconnects you from flow. It's devoid of those beautiful yin energies. It's completely yang. I mean, how does it feel for you thinking about this beautiful harmony of the yin and yang, this beautiful harmony of inspiration and action? Like, doesn't that just fill your cup? Doesn't that make your heart feel open and expanded, like a real coming home? A yes, that feels beautiful. That's how I want it to be in my life. That's how I want it to be in my business. I want to feel inspired and act on that inspiration. Because the thing is, that inspiration, that flow, that joy, they're very sacral chakra energies. And what's the other sacral chakra energy? Abundance. Abundance. And abundance is a result of this flow, of this joy, of allowing inspiration into your life, of allowing creativity into your life, which is, it goes hand in hand with inspiration. Abundance is a result of this. And as a result of my experience of the last couple of weeks, I feel so abundant. And that's not just money. There certainly has been some money flowing in from places I wouldn't have expected, and it's felt like such a gift. But everything in my life feels like it's flowing. Every night when I ask my question, what flowed for me today? I can't believe, no, I shouldn't say that, should I? I can believe, but I'm amazed by how many things. And it could be something Yesterday I had to move a piece of furniture from my house back to a friend's storage. And just that, organizing it was effortless. It happened so easily. The car was there, the key was there. It was easy. And after it had been done, I was just like, oh my gosh, that was effortless. And so it can be little things like that. And that's what I'm discovering every day. I'm recognizing so many things flowing in my life. And I'm sure that trusting this inspiration I had to go on Insight Timer and allow myself to move into that flow is all a part of it. And even, it kept flowing. Last night I had a call with Insight Timer about doing a live. And so now I've been approved to do lives on there, which is going to reach an even larger audience. So that flow is continuing. It's very, very exciting. And I hope you can feel that inspiration. Hearing the difference between inspired action and mental action will help you to look at this in your life, to just take note of when your action is coming from the mind and when it's coming from inspiration. And have a think about it. When did you take inspired action in your business? Think about when you did that, when the energy just came to you and boom, you did it. And what happened as a result of that? Not just as a direct result of that action, but what happened in your life at that time? How did the floodgates open for you? How did that flow show up in other areas of your life and business? This is how you can live all the time. This is how you can show up in your business all the time. Now remember, we're undoing a whole lot of programming here to reach this place. So be gentle with yourself. Celebrate the times when you are able to embrace the inspiration and act upon it. And have awareness. Have awareness around your actions. Have awareness around your actions in business. Because when you can really allow this flow of inspiration and trust it, and step out in that trust and take the action, that is Biz Alchemy. Thanks for listening to Biz Alchemy. I'm Jacquelyn Atkins. If you enjoyed this show, I'd love it if you subscribed, shared with your friends, and left a review. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, head to jacquelynatkins.com. Until next time, enjoy creating alchemy in your biz.